Hey everybody, it's your girl, Pretty Me Down, coming at you with my update on where I have been. I had my son, Austin Jabari, on September the 30th at 3:42 p.m. That's my baby. He's asleep right now. I haven't had a chance to do any updates or anything because I actually ended up going on maternity leave, and that was like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the pregnancy because of my swelling. I ended up having carpal tunnel, and as you guys know, I have an office job, so carpal tunnel and all the swelling and all that, it just wasn't doing a good job. Um, let's see what else. So that's why I really wasn't updating. I was like really, really tired and just ready to get this pregnancy thing over with. So here is my story about what happened. Sorry, the camera's kind of, I'm holding it with one hand trying to do this. This is my fiance. Hey babe, say hi. For real? Okay. Anyways, um, so it was the night of September the 29th, and actually that night I had been telling Zach, I was like, babe, like my stomach hurts, like it feels really, really heavy. And we literally, like, funny moment, we were walking into his parents' room, and I had him holding my stomach up because it just hurt to walk. And we weren't thinking anything of it, like, okay, whatever. I had already scheduled my induction to be done on October the 6th. I was due October the 3rd, so I was good. Like, I'm gonna be induced. I hadn't had any centimeters dilated, nothing. Like, nothing was going on. So we get home that night and we go to sleep, and I'm watching The Good Wife, and all of a sudden, like, my stomach just starts hurting, and I'm like, okay, well, I probably just have to go poop, right? And so I try to go poop, and it was like still, like, nothing was coming out. I couldn't poop, but I was still having these pains. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. So of course I get on the internet and start looking for stuff as my stomach's still hurting. An hour into it, finally I wake Zach up. I'm like, babe, I think I'm having contractions. We need to go. And so he's like, still asleep. So I try to keep track of them. I stand up. Like, I couldn't get rid of these pains. Like, they just hurted so bad. Whew, wee. So finally, I get him to wake up, and we had our godson with us, so we had to get him, take him over to Zach's parents' house, let him stay over there, and then Zach was taken to the hospital. So on the way there, I'm like calling my mom, like, Mom, I'm like going into labor. This is all of 1 o'clock in the morning. So of course she's like nervous, like, what's going on? I'm nervous. Everybody's nervous. And so we had called his mom too on the way there, and she was like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going into labor. I'm having contractions," and probably so overly dramatic. But anyway, she was like, "Okay, it's gonna be okay. We'll meet you at the hospital." So we're riding after we drop off our godson DJ to the house, and I just like feel a gush of water, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" So I tell Zach, I'm like, either I peed on myself or my water just broke. So it just wouldn't stop. It just felt like a consistent, like, water gushing down. It was too much, like, too gory. Anyway, so I'm like sitting there knowing that I just basically just feel like I pissed myself, and I'm in my car. We got leather seats, so that's the only good thing that I was okay about. But I didn't have, like, I had my bags and stuff packed, but I didn't have any change of clothes at the moment. So by the time we got to the hospital, I'm sitting there, the lady's checking and seeing. I'm like, Zach, like, I'm seriously think my water broke. Like, it's still gushing right now. So the check-in process at Germantown Methodist took all of, what you say, like 5 minutes, babe? It took probably like 5 minutes because I had pre-registered, so my information was already in the system. We didn't have to worry about any of that. By the time we got to the room and got settled in, the nurse gave me my gown and stuff like that. His parents had made it in there. They checked me. They did the little swab test to see if it was my water actually breaking or if it was something else. And it turned out it was amniotic fluid, so my water had broke. And I was only a centimeter dilated. So, of course, I've heard all these stories about how people have been in labor for hours and, like, days. And I'm like, I'm only 1 centimeter dilated, and my water's already broke. This is ridiculous. So, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen next. So the contractions keep coming, they keep coming, and they are hurting. Like, when I tell you, I don't know how to explain contractions besides they feel like really, 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 really bad period cramps. And when they come, they just hit you like somebody just punched you in the stomach and keep punching you. And there's nothing you can do about these punches. So finally, the lady came in. She offered me some. What was the medicine she offered me? Do you remember? No, not the Pitocin. She offered me some Stadol. She offered me some Stadol, and it was supposed to shake it or knock off a little of the pain. Okay, whatever. That knocked off nothing. It did nothing for me. It just made me loopy. I felt like I was high for like all of probably like an hour. I felt high. So they came back in. I was still having contractions, and they asked me if I wanted to get my epidural. Well, first I said no, because if I get an epidural now, I'm only 1 centimeter dilated. It's gonna wear off. But let me tell y'all, I had the best epidural ever in my life. The epidural was like an IV. So it's not where they just put medicine in one time and then, whatever. This medicine just continuously keeps going until after my labor. So I was 1 centimeter dilated and I got my epidural. And it lasted the whole time. So this was all of like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I believe I got my, was it like 3 or 4? It was like 4. It was like 4 something in the morning when I got my epidural. And so we were there all day, pretty much. They gave me Pitocin in about, I'll say, probably like around 11 or so. The Pitocin was making Austin's heart rate drop. And so we were really, really worried about his heart rate dropping and stuff. So they took the Pitocin off. And so I was getting scared. Like, they had all these nurses in here. They had me turned over to the other side. Nobody was trying to tell me nothing. Like, Zach's mom, I'll call her Mama Shannon. Mama Shannon was right there the whole time, and she's not saying anything, which is unusual. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this, like whatever. Like, we gotta do a C-section. Let's just get it over with because I want my baby to be okay. So they just took me out the Pitocin and just try to let my contractions and stuff go on their own and dilate on my own. So about 2 hours later, I believe it was, they started the Pitocin again, but they lowered it. So I was at a 5 and they decided to do 4. And so when they did the 4, his heart rate was fine. Everything was good. And by 3 o'clock, it was time to go. Like, I'm like, I need to push, like, for real. So they came back and checked me. I was 9.5. They came back again. Like, they got all the stuff prepped and ready. By the time that was done, I was ready to push. The only thing I would say that was really the most annoying part of my whole labor was that I couldn't eat anything, and I hadn't ate really that Sunday, and all I could have was ice chips and water. And I'm just saying, like, I just think that's ridiculous that that's all I could have, and I'm watching everybody else in the room just eat, and everybody's talking about what they just ate and how they had this good breakfast and all that stuff, and I had ice chips. But anyways, okay. So 3-7 rolls around, and of course I'm like ready to push. The lady comes in. She wasn't my regular doctor, but it was actually the doctor that delivered Zach. So that was pretty cool. And she comes in and she's like, okay, well, let's try the breathing exercises. We're gonna do it 3 times. Count to 10. Just push down. Okay. So on my 3rd time pushing down, I had pushed his head down. So they were like, wait, whoa, stop. We're going to go ahead and, get the process started. And I say it was 3, was it 3 pushes then? It was 3 pushes, and Austin was out. And Zach was in there the whole time, the whole entire time. He actually held one of my legs, which was pretty cool. So I feel like we have a bonding moment there. And my mom didn't make it because by the time she got everything arranged, of course she lives in Indiana, we're in Memphis, Tennessee. That's a 8.5-hour drive trying to get there. My brother went to go pick her up halfway. My dad had to leave. Like, it was just so much commotion. But I was grateful that I had Mama Shannon there because she was there the whole entire way. She stayed in the room with us, like, helped me just to kind of calm down and be okay with everything. So after the delivery, that was at 3:42. After the delivery, what did we do? Oh, they took the epidural off finally, but I still felt like my legs were heavy, but I could still walk. Like, I was okay. I was a trooper. It's like, let's go. I didn't really have any tears. I had a sidewall tear is what she called it, and so they did do some stitches, but it wasn't nothing like too terribly bad. I didn't feel anything really, like, the whole time. The epidural was amazing. Like, you could press this button and it would give you more. Like, it was just amazing. So when I felt it, like it was maybe kind of wearing off, I didn't want to take no chances. I pressed that button like 3 or 4 times. I was like, Mom, press the button, press the button. And like, so we pressed the button like 4 times to make sure that I wasn't feeling nothing. And I didn't. And that's pretty much my birth story. It was pretty awesome. He ended up being 5 pounds and 15 ounces. So they rounded it up to 6 pounds, which was a lot. It was a lot less than what the last ultrasound said when they did the ultrasound. We ended up having to get another one because they thought that he was going to be too small. But the ultrasound showed he was like 6 pounds and 13 ounces, I think. And so we were like, okay, that was 3 weeks ago. Like, he's got a lot more weight to gain. He's going to be huge. No, my baby was 5 pounds. So he could barely fit. He's barely fit into his newborn clothes. They depends on who I buy it from. Like, some of the stuff from Target works good, the Target Carter line. But then I have some other newborn stuff that just looks huge on him because he's so tiny. I think that's it. I just wanted to give you guys an update. So it's kind of cool being a mom now, getting adjusted to not sleeping. I'm used to sleeping, but it feels good to kind of have my body back. I got 3 more weeks before I can start working out, and I don't know. So that's my update, guys. Love you, and I'll see you later.